we are back in the heart of adventure for one last adventure of the season. And my favorite animal in the tree of life is the shark, of course. But welcome back to the show. And we are currently just at Animal Kingdom, but we will hop over to other parks soon enough. And it is quite the day. I mean, it's 60 degrees in the middle of April. We're standing under a waterfall, and it's pretty dang cool, if I can say so myself. But neat carvings aside, we are here for a purpose. Not just to look at the pretty tree and all of its animal carvings, but to explore, to go on an adventure. An adventure that'll close out the season with a bang. And the opposite of a bang, a squeak, if you will. Of course, the first spot for an adventure would be the neon world of Pandora. The only place in the world where you can witness an actual floating mountain in the sky. Or see a very neon kind of pathway that actually glows in the dark at night. It is quite the impressive spectacle. And Disney Imagineering has done it again. And they created a land that is just as cool, if not cooler, than the original concept of Beastly Kingdom, which is what this was supposed to be. I mean, just look at this. The closer you get, the more detail you can see in this. I mean, look at these things. What are they? I don't know. They're just glowing purple. What? What is this? What are these things? I don't know. Haven't seen the movie in like 10 years. Look at this waterfall. That's amazing. And look at the mountains. Look how detailed they are. The vines, everything is all perfectly sculpted with absolute precision. Everything looks amazing here. It is so cool. Unfortunately, despite having a fast pass for the Navi River journey, there appears to have been a medical emergency, which means that all tours are to be stopped immediately. But that doesn't mean we can't go on an awesome adventure in Pandora. Not Flight of Passage, of course, because, I mean, do we have 130 minutes to spare? I don't think so. But there is other cool things to do at Animal Kingdom that a lot of people seem to forget about. I mean, would you just look at this? This land is an adventure in itself. You can explore, do anything you want. Just walk around, explore the pathways, explore the trails. Look at the intricacies and the wonderment of Disney that Disney Imagineering has created here. I mean, it's just, I have no words for it. I mean, just look at the sheer amount of detail in this place. I mean, it's probably the most immersive Disneyland ever in the history of anything ever. Until Star Wars Land 2019, that's just one short year away. And it's going to happen. And I gotta start moving. Because they're evacuating everything, so it's time to head back out and merge into the other Animal Kingdom crowds. Because it's getting quite claustrophobic inside Pandora. But let's just take a look at this blue thing. And then we'll transition over to the next area in 3, 2, from something blue to something green and ferocious. The dinosaurs. Because while we can't ride some banshees, we can surely get to see some realistic looking dinosaurs. And check this out. Look how much detail they put into these little sculptures outside. I mean, look at the muscle definition on that. Look at the claws. Look how sharp they are. Those can definitely take an eye out. These things are so cool, and there's more to come, but you probably won't be able to see it because it's really dark inside. But don't fret, because surely Dinosaur Moses will be able to save us from the wrath of the Carnotaurus. And seriously, Aladar is Moses. Like, if you really pay attention to the storytelling, he is Moses. I'm not even joking. Look it up. And we come to my second favorite fountain in Disney property. The Velociraptor fountain. I mean, just look at this guy. I'm touching a dinosaur. I am actually touching a dinosaur. A fountain. I mean, look at that. That's just super, super cool. And of course, Disney loves their foreshadowing, and holy shit, that's gonna be terrifying in a minute when it comes to life. Disney sure loves their foreshadowing, especially with that. Not to get into spoilers, but that's gonna be bad. And so our journey begins into the light tunnel. I can see some stars ahead.
Okay, now let's go get that dino. Computer, what are you tracking?
Hey, I see a Styracosaurus.
Styracosaurus.
Not our dino.
Warning, meteor shower in range.
That's bad.
Just little ones.
Just little ones. They're meteors, for Christ's sakes. Hi, T-Rex looking guy.
Hadrosaur.
Oh, it's a Hadrosaur.
Raptor.
Oh, hi.
Time to get serious.
That's concerning.
On homing signal.
That's very
now.
concerning.
Hang on.
And into the pitch darkness we go. I see lightning up ahead.
I'm tracking
That's
a
bad.
big dino on the scope. Could be ours.
Hey, that's good.
Computer, full stop.
Oh, it's not ours. Hi,
Identify.
carnotaurus. Maybe the first track can save us. I don't think so.
Definitely not our dino. Go, go, go!
Loss of traction.
Oh, this guy won't quit.
Four-wheel drive. Move.
Hi there. Ah, don't chase us.
Warning, meteor stun.
Evasive maneuver.
It's right behind us.
That was close.
Yeah, sure.
Computer.
Oh, you won't quit.
Carnotaurus.
Come on, man. And in Disney fashion, we have the closing credits, starring the Styracosaurus, our villainous Carnotaurus, and featuring the breakout role of the Aliramus. That is what it's called. Of course, this man laughs in the face of danger, especially from the mysterious and terrifying Yeti. But of course, I don't believe in any mumbo-jumbo superstition, now do I? And would you check out that view? I mean, look, you can see Epcot, you can see Magic Kingdom back there. You can pretty much see everything. And now, we're just gonna smoothly go. And, oh. Well, that's moderately concerning. Whoa, all right. What the fuck is that? Oh no! I guess I was wrong. Hey, wait a minute. Hey, don't mind us. We're just passing through. What is that? What the fuck is that? What is that? Well, I suppose that just about caps off this day here at Animal Kingdom. But wait, there's much, much more. But of course, Animal Kingdom is not the only kingdom. In fact, there is the Magic Kingdom. But what awaits us in the gorgeous lands of Magic Kingdom? The most kid-friendly Disney park. I mean, surely there can't be as many adventures here as one would expect, but you'd be wrong. In fact, this has the most rides of any Disney park. Just pick up a guide map and let's get cracking. While many a tourist would love to flock to the train, which is currently sitting at the station, we have a bigger quest to get through Main Street. And of course, we reach the money shot, which is an almost empty Main Street because everyone's waiting for the parade to come barreling down it. But certainly not us, because we will cut across to Tomorrowland, which is that way. No, not that way. Behind it. Now we're talking. Seriously, if you see this wall, you're in the right place. And thus we depart down the main avenue of Tomorrowland, which has scarcely a folk. Well, there's a couple folks, but scarcely any usual crowds of folks. which of course is the mob, as I call it, or the Tomorrowland mob, as I call it too. I don't think anyone else calls it that, but I do, because this land is usually mobbed. And right now there's a very comfortable amount of walking room, which is very surprising. But in the sake of progress, we shouldn't linger in a place for too long, because eventually the crowd will find you, and they are relentless. I'm just kidding, but sometimes the crowds can be a little too much, especially during this time of year, but it seems to be relatively nice, apart from the sea of strollers, parked for, I guess, Carousel of Progress or the Peoplemover. In Walt Disney World, there is nothing better than riding the wetway. And for those of you who don't know what the Wedway is, it was actually this ride's title back in 1975 when it debuted with Space Mountain, Tomorrowland's gateway to the galaxy. And from the Peoplemover, you can see down into the exit dioramas, including the cool sunny suns they got there, and the cool Martian settlements, and of course my favorite, the water sun down there. And now we travel through space and time, through Space Mountain in the spaciest space ride since space. Of course, Space Mountain is a little thrilling, but it's nothing that any roller coaster enthusiast such as myself cannot handle. And of course, no Disney Day would be complete without a ride aboard the Haunted Mansion. Of course, riding this attraction comes with a certain amount of risk that something undesirable will try to follow you home and haunt you forever. Of course, this would only assume that something undesirable has been trying to break out of the mansion for months now, which we are not confirming to be the case. And a short trip across the mini Mississippi brings us to the heyday of the West, Frontierland. Of course, some of the best adventures exist in Frontierland, such as Splash Mountain, the most best water ride in existence. And most best is a word, and I created it, so hands off. Of course, Brer Fox and Brer Bear have no idea that Brer Rabbit is just messing with them. So, whatever. However, unfortunately, it seems that Splash Mountain's queue is stretching a bit towards the long side, which means we may not get to ride it after all today. Unfortunately, Splash Mountain isn't the only thing with a long queue today. In fact, everything has a long queue right now, which means I think it's time to depart to another Disney park. And so we fly past every building on Main Street. We fly past thousands of people trying to get in, jumping over the crowds, flying at fast speed until we arrive at the exit. And so, our theme park quest has taken us to the wonderful land of Epcot Center. Ah yes, the old Epcot Center. Always the most reliable theme park for me, because it's the one I know the most history about. And the history of this place is almost as interesting as the park itself. In fact, even more interesting. And if having the Walt Disney World monorail run through a theme park isn't cool, I don't really know what is. Because, I mean, that's just awesome. But my favorite thing about Epcot is what it stands for. A utopian future where everyone is brought together, not by war or famine, but by their care for the environment and their love for just wanting to create the world as a better place to be. Just another way that Epcot messes with your perspective. But Epcot, especially during the evening or any time of day, is a sight to behold. Although I would wish that they would get rid of these faux shade panels and maybe add real shade or something. Or bring back that nice reflecting pool that they used to have out here. I'd just like to say that Finding Nemo has one of the best movie scores of all time. Thomas Newman is a genius. But we're not going on the ride. We are going to go into the Shell Shade building. And yes, it is shaped like a conch shell. Disney thinks of everything, don't they? but it is still referred to as the Living Seas by the Civil Engineering Achievement of Merit Award for 1987, because this used to be the largest saltwater aquarium in the world. Could you believe it? Now it's number 2 or 3 or something like that. But I mean, it's still quite a massive aquarium. And look at that, the dolphin. But just because it's number 2 or 3 doesn't mean that this tank isn't enormous and that there isn't a lot of fish stalking it. I mean, look at that. There's like nurse sharks, there's actual sharks, there's these things, there's those things, there's these guys. I'm sorry if I don't know fish names, but this place is actually gigantic. I mean, it's quite amazing, actually, how big it is. I mean, look at that. Look at this. The ride track is covered by a giant stingray. That is awesome. And look, a unicorn fish over there. I don't know if that's the actual name. And they have sea turtles, reef sharks, those. And of course, another, hey, wait, stop following me. Okay. And of course, they have another whole slew of marine life just waiting to be discovered. And yes, they even have dolphins. But being number 2 or 3 in the world, it doesn't make this aquarium any less impressive. I mean, as you can see, it's enormous. I mean, it goes on all the way over there and wraps all the way around. And it even is filled with enormous things like that giant stingray and sharks. I don't know if that's a shark. It looks like a ray/shark hybrid thing. Wait, is this aquarium starting to hybridize things like Jurassic World? Will we soon see a shark-whale hybrid? Oh. That's dark days ahead. Look at this guy. He's just kind of watching. Huh. Whatever. And we leave through these wonderful doors. And now that I've had my coffee, I'm ready to watch Radar. Where is he? Future World West is actually my favorite section of Epcot, since it's so relaxing and kind of just chilled out. Everything kind of has a line, like, I don't even see any straight lines besides the pathway tiles. Those don't count. Everything's kind of curved and, you know, very free-flowing, like someone drew it in a line, which actually was entirely the point, because Future World East, which is that way, was made because it deals with energy, space, and motion, which are concrete ideas. And so everything's kind of rigid and kind of straight. But Future World West was created for things like the land, the imagination, and the sea, which are very broad scopes and thus can't be defined easily, thus curving pathways, and not one straight line. So that is a very interesting thing about Epcot, and that such precise thought was put into it, which is great, actually. Another interesting thing is playing around with sight lines, because as you can see from this angle, imagination and the land connect into one shape. How much thought went into just this tiny piece of architecture that probably no one would ever notice? A lot of work. And that, of course, brings us to Journey into Imagination, or as it's known now, Imagination. But an interesting thing to realize is that Tony Baxter worked on both Journey into Imagination and early stages of the land, which is why they look so similar, because this design was supposed to be for the land. That's right, this design here was supposed to be for the land, but they decided to change midway through the pavilion's development. And so Tony Baxter went strictly to work on Imagination and took the building design with him. In fact, originally the building would have had, well, it does have an upstairs, but the upstairs would have come out onto a balcony up here, and there would have been a staircase that you could go down, and it would have been really, really cool. But of course, the disaster that was Epcot had to have budget cuts, so the upstairs was ultimately built and ultimately abandoned in 1999. And another play on visuals is the fact that you can actually see into Journey into Imagination when the sun hits it just right, confirming that, yes, there indeed is an upstairs. So take that. Also, you can just look it up on YouTube. It's really nice. I've been up there. It's amazing. And if you move your camera just right, you can get both pavilions, once again, meeting the same points. The edge of the land meets the edge of imagination. And that's why the builders of Epcot probably had a master's degree in architecture, and I don't. Because I never in a million years would have thought of something so complex as pavilions merging together, or even a backwards waterfall for that matter. And if you want to trace Epcot's history, look no further than Inventions West, where you can trace the history all the way up until 2016. I mean, look at that. That is amazing. Who wouldn't love a picture of that? In fact, snap. That might be the thumbnail. Yes, Epcot truly is a world in motion, teaching everyone who comes here that it is truly fun to be free. And for those who didn't get that reference, like I've mentioned before, Test Track used to be The Wonderful World of Motion, and It's Fun to Be Free was actually the theme song for said ride. So I might use that a lot, and check out this shot with the reflection in the water. Oh yeah, that's pretty amazing. And another thing you may not notice about Test Track is that it's shaped like a wheel. In fact, the ceiling of the building has spokes of a tire on it. And no one will ever see that unless you're on a helicopter. It just shows how much attention to detail Disney has. And since we're getting onto I-4, I think we're gonna be hitting a lot of traffic. I'm just kidding. I don't take I-4 anymore, unless I'm going to Universal, which I might just do. But anyway, not today, because we don't have time for that. We barely have time for Hollywood Studios. But speaking of which, let's wrap up Epcot real quick. And as I mentioned before, you see everything's a straight line in Future World East. Check it out. Straight, rigid, nothing flows naturally. It all kind of ends off and becomes another straight line. So see, I am not full of bullshit. That is true. And it is actually a really cool detail that no one would notice. And the fact that Disney does it is a testament to how brilliant they are. And that of course brings us to the Universe of Energy, the first pavilion to get its home in Future World. That's right. The location of Universe of Energy did not change from its inception, because this location was the prime location for capturing this, the sun, which powered the building, because as you can see, there's solar cells all over that stuff. So that's a really, really cool thing of architecture. And of course, if you move just slightly over, I don't know if there's any architectural tricks, but you could make the Spike and Pale Spaceship Earth and catch a nice, gorgeous sunset at the same time. But of course, do remember to watch your step, because it's a long fall. But I think we're being called. It's time to go to Hollywood Studios. So one last goodbye to Camera Shop Figment, and a final goodbye to NECA Christian. And a final goodbye to Spaceship Earth. And we are out. And there appears to already be a new development. The Walt Disney World Skyway is coming. Cool. And so we finish our day here at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And this marks the first time I've done all 4 parks in one day. This crossroads will come into play just a little later. So let's get down to business. And check out this view. They got rid of the stage, and now it's just the beautiful view of the Chinese Theater once again. In fact, and a closer look at the Chinese Theater, and it is so friggin' pretty. I mean, look at that. Oh, too bad the Great Movie Ride is extinct, along with all of its remnants. But rejoice, because a new attraction is coming to the Chinese Theater soon. Very soon, actually. I think it's coming in 2019. The same year as everything else. Star Wars Land. Well, Toy Story Land is coming this June, so that should be a big thing. It's too bad I'm blocked out. Well, what can you do? But of course, for every bright Hollywood story, there comes an equally dark Hollywood story. And of course, whenever you see a keep out sign, that means to come in. Look how intricately designed this hotel is. It's quite a nice place to stay, as long as someone dusted all the cobwebs off everything. How delightfully spooky. Good old Anthony Fremont. Hopefully he stopped turning people into jack-in-the-boxes and making the entire US disappear. Well, that's moderately concerning. Well, now I know why this hotel's haunted. They've got props from the Twilight Zone everywhere. Oh, speaking of which, look what's on TV. Such a great show.
You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You just crossed over into the Twilight Zone. Tonight's story
Oh, it's Serling.
Zone is somewhat unique. It calls for a different kind of introduction.
Like what?
This, as you may recognize, is a maintenance service elevator, still in operation, waiting for you.
Huh.
We invite you, if you dare, to step aboard, because in tonight's episode, you are the star.
Oh.
And this elevator travels from Redwood to the Twilight Zone.
Well, that's moderately concerning. But hey, there's no reason to fret. Let's just wander through the terrifyingly creepy boiler room. In all seriousness, the theming in this room is excellent. Oh, that elevator's falling mighty fast.
For your safety once on board, please remain.
I think I should have taken the stairs.
You were the passengers on the most uncommon elevator, bound for a set.
Oh, we have the second floor. That's nice. Hey, it's a nice hotel. Oh, hello. What is that? Who are you? Oh, bye! Oh. What is going on? Where's the electric? Oh. 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 Oh dear. Please silence your cell phone before the movie. Okay.
5 people step through the door of an elevator and have a nightmare.
What kind of nightmare? Am I facing down an elevator shaft? Oh, I don't want to go that way. No, thank you. I would like to... What is going on? Hello, ghost people. Hi, door. What exactly is going on here? There's window. Oh, and there goes the window. Hello, Starfield. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's bad. I don't want to be in here right now.
You are about to discover what lies beyond the fifth dimension, beyond the deepest, darkest corner.
What Tower of Terror? Why is this called the Tower of Terror? Oh, that's bad! Ah! Oh, hi! Hi, Hollywood Cameras! Oh, hi, just kidding! Ah! I guess that just happened. And yet somehow we made it out of there. I don't know how. But that is a story for another time. And I'll give you a hint. The elevator went to the basement, as it should have gone. But it was a very fast trip. But as we walk down Sunset Boulevard, can we just take a moment to appreciate all of the neon? It is everywhere, and I love neon. And one final look down Hollywood Boulevard. towards the famous Chinese theater. And we return to the crossroads of the world, where I have a very important announcement. And so we find ourselves at a crossroads, quite literally, as I'd like to announce that I'm officially moving away to South Florida. Not so far as to where I can't come here regularly, but far enough to where it's not a distraction. As much as I've loved coming to Disney over the past couple months and creating content for you, I've just come to the realization that I need to move on. Because these parks, as much as I love them, is just a remnant of my childhood. And I always figured I needed to move on sometime or another. And now's the perfect time. I'm in college and I need to evolve, I need to grow. Because I moved here to escape the real world. The pain, the sorrow, and everything that implies. But I've ignored the real thing, which is family, friends, and other things like that. And I felt bad. And I just want for me to be happy. Because all in all, despite all the pain, despite all the trials and all the tribulations, the real world is the only place where you can find true happiness and be content with yourself. Because reality is real. This, as well done and as beautiful as it is, it's all just an illusion. But the point of the matter is that I'll still visit, I'll still come here and make exciting and fun content with you like today. And I wanted to close out my first season with a bang. This is not the end, and despite going all in this season and actually doing something that actually matters and actually I am proud of, and is not just a vlog, which actually has good sound, good editing, I'm happy with what I've done this season, and there's more unique stuff coming your way. So, goodbye for now, and thanks for taking this journey with us. See you in season 2.